Hello, I'm Professor Nirmala Menon, Professor of Literature and Digital Humanities at IIT Indore. Today we will be talking about infrastructures, and knowledge infrastructures, digital infrastructures, what do they mean, and how do we understand and navigate them. What are infrastructures? An infrastructure can refer to physical objects like servers. Knowledge infrastructures can be laboratories, centers, societies, abstract representations such as software or coding. All of these together make up digital infrastructures. So, in our context, we can think of infrastructures or digital humanities infrastructures as an interface between researchers, research, and resources. As Bhattacharya points out in Words in a World of Scaling Up, or Alan Liu in Towards Critical Infrastructures. So we think about the right to infrastructure and the significance when it is built bottom up as opposed to top down. Goals and needs of research infrastructures are neither equal nor standard, and the key is to understand the infrastructural and the intellectual context of our research environments. So, when it comes to open scholarship, the consequences of FAIR principles as opposed to CARE principles when building archives, the curation and dissemination of indigenous data and narratives, when conceptualizing software and coding rules, multilingual context, and its consequences. So, the crucial question about knowledge infrastructures, digital or analog, is twofold. What do these infrastructures seek to do? Who benefits them? Who pays for them? And most importantly, who is a part of them and who are not a part of them? All of these have to be considered when we think about digital humanities infrastructures. Some of the questions that we have to ask is: one, can different traditions be standardized across disparate global standards? Is interoperability integrative or exclusive? How and what is data governance? How much do digital humanists know about these infrastructures, and is it an epistemological necessity for us to do so? So we will, fostering collaborative networks. So we will try to understand this by looking at some infrastructural projects and what do they seek to do and what do they signify. The first one is SADILAR, or SADILAR, making language resources open in the South African context. The South African Center for Digital Language Resources is a national research infrastructure funded by the Department of Science and Innovation of the Government of South Africa and forms part of the broader DSI, South African Research Infrastructure Roadmap. SARIR is a strategic national initiative and framework to facilitate medium to long term planning, implementation, monitoring, and evaluation for the provision of research infrastructures necessary for a competitive and sustainable national system of innovation. SADILAR has the function of creating, managing, and distributing digital and computational resources, as well as applicable software for all of South Africa's official languages. This is a very important and crucial intervention in South African DH. Mukurtu, an indigenous content centered management system. The Mukurtu Vumparani Kari Archive was established in 2007 through collaborative discussions with Warumungu community members in Northern Australia. Mukurtu is a Warumungu word meaning dilly bag or a safe keeping place for sacred materials, and as such, Mukurtu was chosen as a name for the archive, which represents a safe keeping place where Warumungu people can share stories, knowledge, and cultural material using their own protocols. The grassroots initiative has empowered communities to curate, manage, and disseminate their digital heritage in logistically flexible, culturally appropriate, and ethically sensitive ways, in spite of the many obstacles to doing so. Climate Stories Project, an open access participatory platform on climate disruption. The Climate Stories project is an open access participatory platform designed for sharing narratives of climate disruption, recognizing the need to place human stories at the center of multifaceted climate debates. Focusing on oral histories, CSP brings effective human scale considerations to the abstract, technologized, and oftentimes overwhelming nature of climate change discourse. Indigenous Foods Knowledges Network, an open initiative on indigenous biocultural knowledge and food sovereignty. The Indigenous Foods Knowledge Network, IFKN, in contrast, offers an example of a collaborative open platform underscoring the value of food security, sovereignty, and equity in close partnership with indigenous communities. A limitation of the climate studies project is its prevailing Anglo-centric focus on North American climate narratives, with comparatively few contributions from indigenous communities and members of the Global South. Like Mukurtu, IFKN provides, first and foremost, a framework promoting greater equity and inclusion in open indigenous biocultural knowledge projects responding to climate change urgencies. The Public Knowledge Project, another very important project, was formed out of the Internet's original promise of a greater democratization of knowledge in an age of information. Its members continue to develop tools that are bringing about more equitable global participation in the partaking of this form of knowledge. Our research also contributes to these very questions of how research and scholarship work in the world. Over the last 2 decades, um, we have seen this mission of increasing public access to carefully reviewed and vetted research grow in importance as a counterforce to the online rise of misinformation. Finally, SHIP, or Knowledge Sharing in Publishing, is an infrastructural project incubated and developed at IIT Indore. It's an interdisciplinary platform dedicated to transforming knowledge production and dissemination by fostering multilingual, open, and sustainable publishing infrastructures that bridge across access gaps, promote collaboration, and advance digital publishing practices. Hosted at IIT Indore and part of Ubiquity Press's partner network, we publish original research monographs in the humanities, social sciences, and engineering, while also serving as a host for peer reviewed journals from academic societies with a particular focus on India. In addition to scholarly publishing, it serves as a repository for digital humanities projects and tools, while also publishing and curating electronic literature, including anthologies that highlight diverse and experimental digital narratives. The work is guided by rigorous international peer review standards uh, and an advisory and review board composed of leading scholars. While English remains a key language, the primary focus is on fostering a multilingual scholarly publishing platform that ensures broader accessibility and inclusivity. One of the projects of this platform is the Indian Electronic Literature Volume 1. Uh, this pioneering collection marks an important development in Indian literary publishing. Indian Electronic Literature Volume 1 brings together 17 digital works that demonstrate new and evolving computational and literary aesthetics in multiple genres and media. The volume presents a wide range of formats and styles for storytelling, including flash poetry, slam poetry, frame narratives, generative poetry, interactive narrative, and various kinds of multimodal writings in English and Indian languages. With this first landmark collection, the editors have shown the vast opportunities and experimental freedoms provided by digital platforms, including social media. The volume paves the way for further innovation and cultural inclusivity in electronic publishing by highlighting the transformative potential of technology for the creation and dissemination of literary works in India. This was published in December 2023. Another publication or another under knowledge sharing in publishing is the Digital Humanities Intersections Journal, which is an open access peer reviewed journal committed to advancing multilingual and interdisciplinary research in digital humanities. Published under the aegis of TRIP, DHI serves as a platform for scholarship that critically engages with digital methodologies, epistemologies, and infrastructures to examine the intersections of technology and the humanities. It is dedicated to advancing an inclusive and accessible publishing space that upholds linguistic diversity, critical perspectives, and emerging methodologies in digital humanities research. The journal supports scholarship that interrogates the impact of digital tools and data-driven approaches, fostering dialogues across diverse scholarly traditions to advance equitable and reflective knowledge production. Aligned with the FAIR principles and a strong commitment to open research practices, DHI promotes the visibility, accessibility, and long-term impact of digital humanities research, ensuring it remains reflective, critical, and publicly engaged. What all of these above research infrastructures or digital infrastructures serve to do is to showcase that building infrastructures or knowledge infrastructures on digital platforms is not merely a slow and a gradual process, it is a very deliberative act of curation and collation, and that serves a community while keeping in mind the humanities mandates of access and equity. Digital infrastructures have to be a part of the making and the imagining of digital humanities in India. As we worked on the book and these infrastructures, learning from different projects, their development, and the ways in which they were compiled, collated, or funded, it is very clear that even the above terms have to factor in issues of language, lack of standardized tools, and the ever prevalent paywalls that make access to infrastructures uneven and exclusionary. Then, how do such projects make it to the finish line? What are some of the ways in which we reconfigure or configure the innovation inherent in the implementation of projects, and what can be learned from practices that worked or did not work for any of those projects? Each one of those projects have their own story, and I would welcome all of you to go and check them out. And these varied and complex ways of navigating these unstable infrastructures impact the way we theorize digital humanities in the larger global south by looking at these examples from different situations. But the struggles of each of these projects as pilot projects and the enormous challenges, both in technology and epistemology, underlines the challenges that similar projects across universities should address as digital humanities projects. This in turn means a certain institutional recognition of the intellectual labor and practice that go into creating and making these projects such that we can make through pedagogy and curriculum DH practitioners of the next generation who will have at the very least a theoretical and technological toolkit of ideas and tools that are contextualized for challenges in and around their own sites and locations and cultural contexts. Digital infrastructures have to be a part of the making and imagining, and we cannot afford to build either in isolation. It would have to interact and be messy, and there will be more than a few weeds that would have to be pulled out later. But an ecosystem will emerge that will foster far more creative projects in the future. So, these infrastructural projects thus give us a sense of what it means to build digital infrastructures, knowledge infrastructures for such projects in India. At the end, What we need is a reconceptualization of the design of the indexes of the web, reimagine the possibilities of platform democracy and ownership of archival material, data and metadata, and in some way rethink the meaning of the word location and sites of digital curation and dissemination. This means a reimagining of the technical possibilities of text, context, paratext, and language in a way that shifts our abilities to design an ethical infrastructure. What the above examples demonstrate is that the diversity of disciplines, projects, motivations constituting what is the digital humanities landscape in India makes it organically transdisciplinary, promising the quote the methodological and social diversity unquote found wanting in Anglo-American DH. We have cited only a few examples from the numerous projects scanning history, economics, literature, especially translation studies, artificial intelligence, natural language processing based works, and so on. If digital humanities as an umbrella term is to have a role in India, it must be one of documenting, harnessing, and facilitating these kind of works and projects, as well as empowering their access to resources, both capital and academic, to ensure that engagement with the digital is rewarding and incentivized within academia at large. The labor and intellectual rigor involved in developing digital archives and repositories has to be recognized as legitimate research output and not merely as appendages or ancillaries to real humanistic thinking. Making involves theorizing and doing. These components are inseparable if we are to understand the complex networks of the digital, the analog, and the human. Thank you.